Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And today I want to talk to you about the newest announcement in Marvel Future Fight regarding the upcoming update. And we don't have a lot of information so far, but we did get this teaser image of Miss America. And if you don't know her, if you're not familiar with her, I'll do a breakdown on her now and what we can expect from the character. But then I want to talk about some other things because there's no way I could make a 10-minute video about just a picture, right? So America Chavez, who is also known as Miss America, is presumably the newest character that is coming to the game with this next 3.6 update that we're being teased to get sometime in the future. I don't know if it's next week or 3 weeks from now, who knows, but we're getting it sometime before the next year, and it's going to include at least one new character. But who is Miss America? Well, her backstory is pretty convoluted. She's a fairly new character in the Marvel universe, but what you need to know is that she's not from Earth. She has kind of otherworldly powers. She can kick open kind of portals that she can teleport through to travel long distances, so she's probably going to have iframes. And she has, superhuman strength, speed, durability, just your basic traits. She doesn't scream very unique in terms of her power set, but she's a pretty cool character for what she represents around her. And essentially, Miss America has been inserted into some pretty powerful teams. One team in particular that you already know and are recognizable is the A-Force team. So she was on the all-female Avengers squad, with the likes of She-Hulk and Sister Grimm, and other characters that we already have in this game, Singularity. Can't find any of those characters now that I'm looking for them, but you know who I'm talking about. In addition to being on the A-Force, in addition to being part of other groups, she's more recently been part of the Ultimates, or just called Ultimates, which is a team comprised of Blue Marvel, Spectrum, Captain Marvel, and Black Panther. Now, we already have Captain Marvel and Black Panther in this game, so we may be seeing new uniforms for them, or we may see nothing at all. We're gonna have to wait and see for those characters. I think both Captain Marvel and Black Panther could use some form of rework, but that will come on later in the video when I discuss why I don't think they're going to get them. Very likely, it's not a very likely chance, but we'll have to, at least hope for it. The two characters that are left kind of with a question mark that we could get are Blue Marvel and Spectrum. And both of these characters have kind of universal power sets, and I use the word universal power sets because I imagine that they will be universal types. If you want to imagine Blue Marvel as sort of a Superman, similar to Hyperion, similar to Sentry or Quasar, he's just got a lot of different powers: energy absorption, manipulation, superhuman strength, speed, endurance, healing factor, flight, can survive in space. He's got all these different kind of powers that make him just a quintessential hero, and he's actually extremely powerful. He's had fights with King Hyperion when he was kind of a bad guy, and he's held his own against some of Marvel's strongest heroes by himself. And then you have Spectrum, who's a bit more mysterious. She's kind of confusing. Her power set is essentially that she can take the form of a type of energy and then absorb that form's or that energy's properties. So she can turn into kind of gamma ray energy, like a living being made out of gamma ray energy, or microwave energy, or X-ray energy, and the list goes on. And there's obviously more details and there's more specificity to her power set, but that is kind of her shtick, or her unique thing that she brings to the table. What this means for the update, I don't know. Miss America could honestly be a combat hero. We don't have many kind of interdimensional flying combat types, but a lot of her other skill set, punching, kicking, does scream combat. She could be blast. She could also very well be universal, and I kind of expect Blue Marvel to be either universal or blast. I also expect Spectrum to be either universal or blast. So this update is looking very much like a universal or blast update. Not that we necessarily need those characters, but that is what it's looking like. But that is all we know thus far. The only other indication we have that the Ultimates were coming was actually something that was given to us with the Apocalypse update. If you go over into the library of the game and you go to the world bosses and you go over to Apocalypse, the Dawn of Apocalypse, I believe, is where they discuss something called the Ultimates. Actually, you know what? It's not this one. I misspoke. It's the Epic Quest, and it's the last Epic Quest for the X-Men. Phoenix's Warning. That's the one. So the world will burn, not anymore, and we go through here, and she's warning. The Phoenix is trying to warn about some cosmic order of things collapsing on themselves. And these are the circumstances that T'Challa spoke of earlier. And if you guys don't know, T'Challa is Black Panther, who's part of the Ultimates, this group. And then Rogue says, hopefully his team of Ultimates have it covered. And I know I'm covering some of the text, but you can obviously see the words that are most important, which is Ultimates. Ultimates being part of Miss America's team, which is America Chavez, who's been introduced. So you can see that Netmarble was foreshadowing this back in June when they released this. So they were kind of laying the framework for this update eventually, and you know, we can expect this to make sense later on when we have it in the game. But that is about all we have for the update as far as this teaser is confirmed. Netmarble doesn't like to tease us with a lot of information. We may see a bigger slice of the picture in upcoming teasers, but in the meantime, I think it's important to discuss what we should start to expect from updates, because I don't mean to play the grumpy grandfather role in the community, but I do feel as though a good portion of the community, and maybe not the majority, but a good portion of the community sees the game update to update, and it's a very short scope, and it's just concerned about or interested in or intrigued by new characters and what these new characters' abilities might be and who we may get next. Now, I know the Marvel Universe is wonderful, and there's so many characters, hundreds of characters, thousands of characters that could make their way into this game and become a wonderful addition. You know, I don't regret any of the characters that we have in the game, and I don't wish that we had fewer characters. So I don't want this to be misconstrued as a complaint about the size of the roster in the game. I like the fact that we have so many heroes and villains. I think it's one of the strongest points of this game. I just think that it shouldn't be the priority over other things that we should expect for the game and from these next few updates. I think going into, you know, their 3rd anniversary coming up pretty soon, I think Netmarble needs to make good on some of their gameplay promises that they have been unable to make good on so far. Because even if you have 200 characters, even if I got Iceman and Gambit and all the juggernauts and characters that I really wanted, if you're left playing the same game modes that you've gotten used to playing for the past year or two, if you've been here as long as I have, it's not going to feel fun for very long. You know, I had so much fun going through the game with Doctor Strange when I first unlocked him, because all of these game modes were new. World Boss, there were new World Boss stages, there's the new Chapter 12 and 11 missions for Odin, there was Shadowland. All of these things came around during or after Doctor Strange's update. If I compare getting Doctor Strange and playing him in the game to how I feel about Wolverine, although I like Wolverine more as a character, I got bored a lot faster of using Wolverine because I had already gotten so used to playing these different game modes. You know, Alliance Battle hasn't changed at all since it was introduced. Things around Alliance Battle have changed, obelisks have changed, cards have changed, alliances have changed, and the characters you use have definitely changed. We've seen a huge upheaval in the meta for Alliance Battle, but the actual game mode hasn't changed. Imagine you're just grinding the same dungeon day after day for 13 months. That's what we've been doing in Alliance Battle. Multiply 13 months and you'll see how many days you've been playing the exact same game mode. Dodge the meteors, hit the frost beast. Dodge the meteors, get bored. In addition, we see game modes like Alliance Conquest where they put tags on it like beta test. In a beta, they're supposed to take the feedback that the community is giving and use those to alter the game mode. The only feedback that they've used so far for Conquest is to allow Class 1 members of an alliance to use class buffs during the Conquest attack mode, the battle phase. And while that was a nice quality of life update, they haven't done anything to change the core gameplay. They haven't tried to manipulate or change the timers. It's always 2 hours every 8 hours. They haven't reduced or increased the number of regions to make anything new or fresh for us. They haven't changed it from an autoplay only feature. They haven't given us the ability to assign skills. They haven't even allowed us to autoplay against or manual play against autoplayed AI. Nothing else has changed, and I guarantee you, if we keep quiet about this, if we don't make noise, the beta test tag will disappear, and you'll just come to believe that Alliance Conquest was meant to be this way. So then what was the point, I ask you, of having the beta test at all? If it's just a lie to get you to believe that they're going to improve the game mode when there's really no effort behind the scenes to improve it at all. And I say this because it does speak to, and it does kind of worry me about end game content in this game. And I know that a lot of new players or intermediate players don't like to think about end game content. They just want to win now. But I assure you, once you get tired of winning, you're going to want more. You're going to want a challenge. And unfortunately, a lot of the challenges, the highest level challenges in this game, are not manually playable. Alliance Tournament is a full autoplay mode. Take any other game, any other type of game, and tell the players, your top teams are going to fight each other in an auto battle. Any MOBA, any FPS, any tactical RPG game, those players would be furious with you. What do you mean I'm not going to be able to control my character? I can't control the skills? I can't control the movement? Why am I playing at all? This is not a tournament for the top players. Who is the tournament for? It's all for show, right? Then you tell them that, you know what, the biggest tournament that your whole alliance is going to compete in, an alliance raid, let's say, is also going to be autoplay only. How do you think players of top teams in top games, you know, MMORPGs for example, how would they react if everything was auto only, where there was no option to turn that off and actually have an input into what you're doing? I don't want to get too off topic, but this is part of the problem, and demanding and expecting real, substantial, tangible changes to come to the game modes should be the top priority for the community moving forward. It doesn't matter if we get America Chavez, it doesn't matter if we get Blue Marvel. If we're going to be stuck throwing them into the lion's den of Alliance Conquest and crossing our fingers and hoping to get lucky, we're going to end up feeling the same way about these new characters as we feel about all of the other characters in our roster. And I'll ask you this question and leave you with this question so that I hope that you can understand where I'm coming from, even if you've disagreed with me until now. Out of 142 characters, can you say that you like, enjoy playing with, and are happy to use more than 50% of these characters every single day? The answer for most people, I'm guessing, as it is for myself, is no. Because a lot of these characters are either underpowered, they don't suit the game mode, or they just don't perform the way they're supposed to. The way that you've come to expect them to. I used my Hulk recently in Alliance Conquest in a team of 3, and he was the first one to die. Did I get unlucky? Sure I did. Did the enemy's Jean Grey one-shot my Hulk? Absolutely. But I have these expectations. We've built up these expectations about these characters, and we never get to fulfill the expectations. The only time you get to fulfill them is in game modes like Shadowland and World Boss, and that's great. It means that 30 or 40% of this game has great content. But what about that other 40%, that other 60%? Should we just continue to ignore it and cheer for more new characters? Will that really fix the problems and qualms that the community has? I implore you, I encourage you guys, and I urge you to ask yourself these questions honestly and put aside the temporary happiness you might feel by seeing your favorite hero come to this game. My favorite heroes have already come to this game, so I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. You may not believe me wholeheartedly because I got Doctor Strange, I got Wolverine, I've got some of my, you know, A+ favorite Marvel characters. Maybe you're still missing your Nova or your, you know, Colossus. But ask yourself, do we really need more characters now? Or do we need a better place, better game modes to use the ones that we already have? Hope you guys have enjoyed this mini rant. Subscribe if you're having a good time, or if you disagree with me, or if you agree with me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.